One superstar can start to change a team's trajectory, two can make the fan base more optimistic, and when you have other pieces who can also elevate the team's play, this is when you find yourself having a bona fide offensive system. With the Phoenix Suns winning their last 2 games after adding Kevin Durant to their team, it looks like this will shake up everything in the West. Now some of you might say, well, one player isn't going to change literally everything in the West. And yes, you may be correct, but we're not just talking about any player or just any team. Recency bias is a huge thing that comes upon people's minds in the sports world, but the Suns were literally just in the 2021 NBA Finals competing at the highest level. And now when you add in KD to the mix, it makes those hopes of getting back to the finals more realistic. The first thing that comes to mind when looking at KD joining the Suns is how well he can create something out of nothing from the ISO situations. Now this isn't to say D-Book can't create for himself, it's just a different art when KD is pulling players out to his island. When it's just Booker being the sole guy who the Suns usually look to go get a bucket, it can limit the team at certain points if the defense just schemes to make it hard for Booker to get a good look at the rim. But now since KD is next to him, it'll take a load of defensive pressure off of D-Book, and this opens up many more possibilities for the offense. At the moment, Kevin Durant has the 5th highest ISO possessions at 5.4 per game, and on 4 attempts off these, KD has an effective field goal percentage of 50%. Yeah, scorching hot to say the least. The length, the smoothness, and the silky jumper all allow KD to have his way with the opposition, and at any time he has the ability to shut the whole game down. You can see here as KD fights to get the ball at the elbow, Ayton is going to shift over to the weak side block, giving KD the whole right side to operate, and as we all know, the rest is history. It may not be super complex, but the simple yet direct moves gets KD to his spots before the defense can even get a hand up. I know that the flashiness is what gets people going, but when we're talking about real hooping, you want a player who has good efficiency, and with KD, you get just that. Some star players may demand the ball in their hands a lot more, taking up majority of the shot clock or a lot disrupting rhythm, but KD is like water and he just flows right in the offense. Getting physical with defenders before running them off the screen into a swift jumper is effortless for Durant, and even if the defense is right in his grill, Durant is simply unbothered and dots it from 26 feet. When you get a player with such a versatile skill set, it makes it easy for them to mesh with any offensive system. These looks will be open so much for KD, as we've already seen that the Suns like running the high screens for Durant to come off of, and if the defense isn't extremely tight, well, it's just another bucket for 3-5. From the mid-range and deep this season, we're seeing some special numbers from Durant as he's knocking down 57% of his 7 mid-range attempts per game, and when we pull it out to the perimeter, KD drains 38% of his nearly 5 attempts per game. So it's pretty safe to say if you leave him open, well, you might as well chalk up points on the board. Now for all the value the Suns gave up for KD, they definitely got it back and some based on how well KD can score the ball from the perimeter, but then when we look at his inside scoring this season, it further solidifies the move to get Durant. When you're looking to make a for sure playoff push, you want to have that player that has the experience and the confidence to perform at a high level no matter the pressure. Some guys can get knocked off their game if the defense just decides to take away their specialties, but with Durant, you're never going to be able to do that. His outside shooting, as we discussed, is amazing right now, and let's say the defense does key in on that, well, Durant has no issue going inside to snatch up a quick bucket. In the restricted area, KD has converted 78% of his 102 attempts so far, and even if you want to bring it out a little bit further, on all shots from less than 8 feet, Durant sinks 71% of his 155 attempts from this area. So what exactly is a 3-level scorer? If you looked it up in the dictionary, you might see KD's picture right next to it. It's simply someone who can score the ball from deep, mid-range, and inside at a rather decent rate. Durant is just on another level right now when it comes to scoring the basketball, but throughout his whole career, he has always been able to have his way offensively, making it look quite effortless. This high-level scoring Durant brings to the Suns only propels them, and with his stature, it'll make the defense cater so much attention to him, which in turn will open up more opportunities for his teammates. But trust me, wait, the value doesn't just stop there on the offensive end, as KD's size and length play a major part into his defense as well. We've seen a much improved player on the defensive end this year, just making it slightly more difficult for the offense to score at the basket. Opponents shoot 47.6% when not being defended by KD, but once they are defended by him, the field goal percentage takes a drop to 43.8%. This is going to help the Suns out so much, especially when you have him paired with Ayton just floating around the paint. Honestly, it's just a lot that KD brings to a team once he arrives. I know Devin Booker is more than excited as this move really helps him out tremendously. Being the main option the Suns would depend on to wield him in the scoring department at times could be a little taxing, but now he has a true partner in crime and can play with a little less weight on his shoulders. This season, Booker has been very solid, putting up 27 points a night on 47% shooting from the field and 36% from deep. Now, as the month of March has just started, this is a really good thing for Booker and Suns fans. Now you're probably wondering, How is a certain month a good thing? Well, in the month of March during his whole career, Devin Booker has played at an extremely high level. Last season, the Suns went 10-1 over an 11-game span behind Devin Booker's 31 points per game. In 2019, he had back-to-back 50-plus point games. And even if we want to throw it back even further, Booker had the legendary 70-point game in March of 2017 as well. So you can kinda tell now why this is a good sign as we are in the month of March. You take all of that, couple it with the fact that Booker is scoring pretty well right now, then pair it with KD, and sheesh, you get something special offensively, trust me. The way Booker scores can be described as more methodical, as he likes to get to his spots with little moves as possible, but even when you take the ball out of his hands, he can float right into a jumper off screens as well. It's pretty similar to how KD operates offensively, but I think Booker has a slightly slower approach. It's tough shots like this that show you his focus and confidence on the court, and then there's plays with more patience before getting to his spot and rising over the defense to knock it down. Booker is a poised and composed assassin who makes the game look effortless at times, but he's actually very calculated with his approach. When watching his game, you can see the maturity within it, and this type of playstyle equates to longevity. Booker doesn't lean on athleticism, mismatches, or fancy ball handling, and this might be why his game gets overlooked at times. It's not the most flashy style that'll make the crowd go wild, but when you see him catch fire and knock down these shots all around the floor, well, you have no choice but to acknowledge his ability to score the ball at an elite level on all three levels. Sure, we're gonna have those people that are gonna troll and talk about, well, he's always crying, he flops too much, he's an empty stats player. Yeah. I understand that there might be some truths within that, but when we get more serious and dissect the game, Devin Booker is one of the better scorers in the league right now. Shooting nearly 48% on 232 attempts from the mid-range, like I've stated in a lot of videos, the mid-range is an area that can unlock your games to the fullest if you are very efficient in this area. The reason being is because the defense will tend to sag off or play the drive if they know you can get to the basket well, so it presents an open pull-up. Then if the defense closes out hard on the perimeter, you can blow past, stop right before the big steps up, and knock it down. Honestly, there's so many ways, but that's just for another video. Booker has various ways of his own that helps him score on the defense in this in-between area, and this is what makes him so unpredictable when operating in that range. He can deliver a couple jab steps to create the space in the triple threat to pull up, he can use the handle to get the step on the defense to rise up, or he can all out nail a tough fadeaway jumper over any defender. When you really sit down and watch it, it's truly a masterpiece when witnessing all the ways Booker picks apart the defense with his mid-range scoring. But for the times that the defense does play up tight to take away that midi, Booker can attack the basket with some confidence and go get a bucket. Now, it's not like I'm saying Devin Booker is some great slasher or anything like that, so please don't think I'm saying that. But Devin Booker has converted 66% of his 145 field goal attempts in the restricted area this season, which is a great thing to see. When you can get a player who can shoot the lights out and then also be effective when getting closer to the basket, it makes things that much better. It may be an unpopular opinion, but when Booker sets his mind to it, he can be a pretty solid finisher. He can lay it well with both hands, finish with some contact, and get to the basket pretty quickly. When watching him get past the defense, you can really notice the sneaky speed Booker possesses, and it leaves the defense in the dust at times. He not only displays these bursts of speed when coming off screens, but Booker can dash past defenders in the ISO situations as well. If you haven't really noticed this, then it'll definitely make you look at Booker's game differently when you watch him going forward. At any time he can deceive the defense and use that speed to gain the advantage, but he's also getting pretty crafty on his way to finish as well. Since he can pull up so good in that mid-range, Booker can fake defenses with hezzies and up fakes to go lay it home, and then his handle is sturdy enough to string together a combo breaking down the defense to go get a bucket. If you haven't noticed, all of these ways of scoring have all came from inside the arc, and let me remind you of this. Since KD is on the court at the same time as Booker, it'll make the floor open up even more, so the space D-Book will have to operate will be massive. More space equals being more comfortable equals more shots equals more points. See how it all plays out? But like I said, all of those options are two-pointers, but when we drag it out beyond the arc, Booker shoots 36% on 6 attempts per game. Now yeah, this isn't some breathtaking percentage as it's only about 1% over league average, but when we dig a little deeper, you can see that Booker is shooting 45% on 2 catch and shoot attempts per game and 32% on 4 pull-up attempts per game. So it's safe to say if you can get Booker in the situations where he can just rise off the catch, come off those screens, you know what I mean? He will likely light the defense up. The great news is that with Durant being there in Phoenix, it'll grant more opportunities for these looks for Booker. The offense for the Phoenix Suns has just risen to a whole nother level. When you have 2 3-level scorers like Devin Booker and KD on the same team, it's going to give you a massive advantage over most teams, and it's all about how you execute. It's still early as this newly constructed team has only played 2 games together, but just using basketball knowledge, this should amount to something great for the Phoenix Suns going forward. Let me know what you think about this trade and how well you think KD and Devin Booker will perform together offensively. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to drop a like before heading over to watch this Milwaukee Bucks team evaluation. I thank you all for your support. It truly means a lot to me. I'll see you in the next video.